everybody, welcome back to the podcast, PhatBoy and Friends. I am PhatBoy Landon, and I'm here with my friends. Just kidding, only my brother, Jordan. Say hello, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Yeah, a funny bit that never ends. As you can see, we're sans friends, perhaps once again.
And it is a completely
okay
different
because...
day, I promise.
Oh. No, I wasn't going to say a thing like that.
Okay.
But I was going to say a nice thing about how I'm still here with my friends, because Jordan's my friend. Right, Jordan? Good talk. I felt like I felt like that was a good comedy beat. Did I leave a long enough pause?
Yeah,
I've been working on my beats.
It was for the laughter of the studio audience.
Yeah, thank you for being here, by the way.
Thanks, guys, who are also in my room.
Yes! You get a car. You get a car. Welcome back, everybody. That's what I was saying, right?
Yeah.
Today, it's just me and Jordan, like I've said 100 times now. And what are we going to talk about, Jordan?
Childhood trauma.
Okay, but first, I was actually hinting at you should advertise my merchandise.
Oh, we're doing merch. Okay, so today we're going to talk about childhood trauma, religious trauma, and also merch. If you haven't bought a sticker... if you haven't bought a sticker pack, what are you doing?
Sticker pack!
Go get your sticker pack. And maybe by the time this is out, the glasses are available. I don't know.
Whoa. Check it out. What's the website? Do you know it?
Yeah, it's right there. It's www.fatboylandy.square.site.
I thought you were going to forget what it was. Because I don't know what it was. But thanks, Jordan, for that little fun bit. So let's get into it.
Today we're going to talk about going to church. We're going to talk about church trauma. We're going to talk about all of the entertainment
I knew you
aspects of church. Okay?
I love it. I think it defines who we are.
Yeah, more than I would like it to, actually. But anyways.
Exactly. So let's roll the intro.
All right.
Okay, everybody. Welcome to our... I don't know. Are we excited for this episode?
I am excited because I feel like this is something that I have yet to cover in therapy, and this might be helpful.
And free.
Yeah. In fact, if the odds are in our favor, we perhaps might be getting paid for it.
Fingers crossed. So childhood church. Let's say that. I don't like the word trauma. It hurts me.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Okay, it's a Sunday morning. We are at church. We are in the parking lot. We are getting a pep talk before church. We are being told to be on our very best behavior because we are the Star family. Landon, we forgot the Perfects.
No, I knew exactly.
We are the perfect family.
Okay,
let's
get into it.
Are we going to do a watch along? I think we probably should.
Okay, yeah, but we can still talk about it.
Yeah.
So, you want me to talk about it?
I like
where you were going.
I was
keep
processing.
the storytelling.
Okay, so we are getting ready to go to church. It's a Sunday morning. Oh. We are walking in, and we're already there. So if we were brushing our teeth in the car, we would be a little bit behind.
You said getting ready, so I was
getting ready to go in the building. Okay, so we're walking into the church. We're saying hi to everybody. Actually, we're not because we're the first ones there. Because we have to set everything up. Because we are the family that decided to get roped into being kids' church.
Volunteering. You can say volunteering.
Is that what it's called?
Because
I never...
Well, did they get paid for it?
No, but I never offered. So is it really volunteering?
No, because we were children, so we were forced by our parents, and that's okay. parents force their children to do things all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at them because they also got forced into doing it and guilted into
Correct.
doing it.
That's what I mean. Like nobody in our family was in the wrong, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. But yeah, kids' church. What a fun time. No, now you said Sunday, but you perhaps forgot that we also went to church every Saturday.
And Wednesday.
For the night service. And Wednesday for life groups. And remember when we used to go on Tuesdays to help our parents with divorce care for kids?
Yeah, okay, yes. For some reason I was thinking Sunday nights was life groups, but are you
nope,
Wednesdays?
Sunday nights was uncommon.
Oh god, no, this is gonna take an hour.
That's what I'm saying.
So buckle in.
We were at church, folks. Buckle in. We were at church. What is that? Sunday. Are we counting days or times at church during the day?
I think if you're going to church, you can count the whole day, because what else are you going to do with your life if you have to get to church?
Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. That's 4 of the 7 days of the week.
Wait, what?
Perhaps we were there.
What was Tuesday?
Divorce care. Remember when we used to help with that?
Got it. Yeah.
That wasn't every Tuesday, but eventually they were roped in, and that happened. Mm-hmm. But okay. So therefore, we were the perfect family, as some would say.
We were.
And we weren't.
Bum ba da 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 da.
Yeah, we get it. There was a theme song. We were the perfect family.
We were, for all intents and purposes, the perfect family.
Not a pun. Yeah, we were there so often that I think people really might have thought that. Which
they did. You needed to explain the whole thing.
Exactly. The perfects. We were the perfect family, as we just said. And the pastor, is that whose idea it was?
Yeah.
Sure. Had this idea to make like a Modern Family like spoof almost of a family.
It was very Modern Family, yeah.
It was basically like a family like ours outside of church and then inside of church, and how
the duality of man
look like. Yes, very intense about how we were the perfect family at church, but at home we were just like everybody else, arguing, fighting, and so people really did think it happened.
People really resonated with it.
They did, and there was one episode where
there were more than
each had like there were like 5 episodes, 6,
something like that, yeah. And each one was just to kind of like explain. So they would play this video that we had recorded previously, and then the whoever was speaking would give the message of the day about something based off of that. It was a whole series about how we put on a face to act at church versus how we actually are.
Oh, which I was going to say is true. But
yeah.
I don't go to church. You don't go to church anymore. It's true, first of all, everyday life. But that's beside the point. But I was going to say, so there were like 5, 6 episodes, whatever. And we each had like a little moment, I would say, in those episodes. Like
you had lots of
big
moments. I didn't get very many
moments. Yeah, well, I'm an actor. But my favorite, we're bringing it back. This is the longest way to bring it back to this.
Okay.
There was one episode where I was like, we went to that school and filmed at night,
right? With
the whole like teenage kids church, everybody to have extras on set.
Right.
We were big budget, and it's my mother comes in, and it was my real mother. Our whole family was in it. If we didn't say that, I think we did. And she's wearing her pajamas, and her hair is all messed up. And she brings me my lunch, which happens to be a McDonald's Happy Meal because obese. And I like slam the locker and run out of there. And this episode was so impactful. Let me just say, my perhaps could have been daytime Emmy award-winning performance made people believe that my mother actually did that to me in real life, and that they were like upset with her that she would treat her child that way. Remember that?
Yeah, the fact that people like saw people they knew in the background that didn't go to the same school, that you know they could clearly see that it was nighttime. I don't
think they I don't think they were looking at all
They
those
should
details.
have. They should. Okay. They should have. No. I don't. I personally don't understand how people thought that it wasn't a production. For them to actually
They really
think that
thought
they
we were
had
serious.
cameras at your school watching you.
Well, I don't know if it was so much like that, or if they were like, "Oh, this must be based on a true story that happened to them." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
But either way, what if we were going to air out our dirty laundry to the whole congregation?
Yeah.
So it was just a crazy time. I would say that was the cherry on top, the peak of our religious, I don't know, involvement.
Yeah, and the fact that they couldn't tell I was a homo during the filming of that really says a lot about how blind they are to the real world.
Okay, but when was this? What year? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Because I don't think you weren't out to anybody, correct?
Oh, well, no. No.
Like, I didn't know.
2015.
But that's because...
At least...
No, then you were.
At least... Okay, well, 2015 is when I saved the files, because I have the videos. So it was probably a few years before that.
I was going to say. But I would say, yeah. It is kind of crazy that they didn't see that. But also... It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. It was church involvement and at its best. Because we also did other things. Like we said, Sundays and Saturdays, we were... Our parents, Rhonda and Jim. Hey, if you're out there,
Hi,
love
Mom.
you, parents.
Hi, Dad. Our father, who are in hospital.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. For better, not for in the hospital. I just wanted to clear that up.
I hope you're better real
It
soon
could've-
so we can annoy you.
Yeah. Our parents were basically put in charge of the children's church,
Well, first, can we...
which happened.
Save that thought. Take a minute here just to say we have the videos of what we're talking about. It's not going to make sense. That whole thing's not going to make sense unless you see it, and trust me, you have to see it. So we will do a react video or something to it at some point. Yeah.
Sure, throw that on the YouTubes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but that is funny, and we will tell you all the dirty details about it as we watch. But yeah, we were at church those days, Sundays and Saturdays, for each service. There were 3 of them, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because our parents were put in charge of children's church. So by them being put in charge, meaning they would lead the lesson, they would do everything. That forced us to also be a part of that, such as helping put the slides on the screen, play some music, be in charge of the microphones, audio, all that technology stuff, which you're better at.
Which I will say, I didn't hate it, and that's probably part of why I do the stuff that I do now. But still, it's when
But
you're
I
a
think there
kid.
can be good things.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's like when you're a kid and you're forced to do something, and then you're also being indoctrinated at the same time. It's kind of, yeah.
Like, our parents, sure, they were asked and they agreed, but they went full out.
Yeah, they did more than expected for sure.
They found, like, crazy lesson plans stuff on the internet and, like, purchased them, and, like, they built a whole store and bought all the stuff to go in it and made a currency system for the kids' church. Like, holy shit. They brought up the popcorn machine and did all that shit.
Oh, do you remember
built the wind
The
machine?
wind machine, yeah.
Let's get sticky with
The phone, it was like a phone booth with like a fan attached to it, and then they put all the little dollars in it and then flew it around. Yeah.
Our parents were crazy.
I just remember...
But people loved it.
Oh yeah, I mean, they ate that shit up. I just remember, if I could speak from my experience, doing the puppet shows, and I'd be back behind the stage, and I'd do the little puppet show, and I'd have the little microphone like right here, and I'd be like up like here talking with the puppet, and then there was no way to get back out, so I would just spend the rest of the service just like sitting back there like amongst all of the puppets hanging upside down, just like sitting there.
Spooky.
Spooky, yeah.
But so we helped with the audio, the visual, whatnot. But we also like ran that store. Mm-hmm. We were back there taking children's fake money.
Yeah.
We were
sometimes real money.
Puppet shows. We led the worship songs.
Oh yeah. I be packing my bags when I need to stay.
We were performing.
We really were.
Every weekend. That church would
have been nothing without queer.
Period. But so true.
There were yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is.
And there was, every weekend I would say was a performance, and that was draining. Don't you think?
Well, yeah, and I mean, that was just the weekend, like.
Let's get into it. Tuesdays. Divorce care for kids, because our parents were the leaders of the kids' church.
Well, and
they were also.
And
what?
Dad was divorced.
Touche. I didn't even think about that.
That's the only reason why.
That the reason?
I think so. I mean, what else? What other reason would he have? He wouldn't have any experience or any reason to do it.
Well, I don't think they cared. I think they just needed somebody to do it.
Oh, well,
but if double down on it, works with the kids, divorce. So we were roped into helping with that too. There was like a whole lesson plan there, so we had to set up snacks and activities, and it was basically telling children that their parents divorced because of themselves, not because because of them, because of. It wasn't that bad, was it? I don't recall it being like that.
No, there were like little videos and then like a whole like games or whatever. Like, that was the whole thing. But just like us,
which might I say, for a church, to be like, it's okay, your parents are getting divorced and it's not your fault, and also, don't you think that's a little progressive?
Yeah, if only we could continue that, extrapolate that a bit. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I agree.
Into being accepting and liking everyone from every background.
Yeah, couldn't possibly. But I don't know. I just it was just like one of those things where it didn't have anything to do with us, and we were just there to help. So I don't know. How am I supposed to relate to this person about this situation? I was just there for the snacks.
Eat some cheese sandwiches.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It all comes back to food. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Holy moly.
So that was Tuesday nights, apparently.
Yeah. Wednesdays. Wednesday. Do you remember Wednesdays?
What was Wednesday?
Life groups. So life groups were, you would get together with your peers, children the same age as you, teenagers. I think it was more a teenager thing, right? You hit 8th grade, 7th grade, and they were like, let's get you in a group with kids your same age.
Right, because didn't they have oh no, that was what you were saying was Sunday nights when we would have
yeah, watch it.
When we would have youth group or whatever, they would have Sunday school at night. So yeah. You're right.
Wednesdays was
teenagers
getting together at people's houses,
right,
who offered up their homes and to be the leader of the little life group, and you would have fun, you'd get to know people, but then it would always be a Jesus story in the end.
Yeah, yeah, you'd sit around in a circle, you'd talk about it, you'd read the passages, you'd talk about,
Sometimes they'd give you a little homework here and there.
Right,
think about this next week.
Yeah, there was lots to think about. Let's just say I wasn't too concentrated on what was going on during the lesson. I was busy discovering myself and my peers.
Is that a story that I don't know?
Yeah, but we don't have to talk about it.
No, I think we do if it's legal. As long as nobody signed an NDA.
It's not illegal.
I think you should talk about it.
It's just one of those things that's you get to be in a small group.
No.
You get to be
I don't know.
You get to be in a small group and there might be somebody that you like, but what the fuck does that mean? Because you shouldn't feel that way and oh my god.
Children of the Lord.
Right. And yeah, and you shouldn't.
Wow, I didn't.
You shouldn't even be touching yourself when you go home. You can't be doing that. So it's a.
Let's not get on.
It's
that.
the time. It's the time of forging your path into the world and figuring out what's going on, and then also talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
And also,
so you did
there was some
in
bomb-ass snacks.
Oh, so true, but that's because you were going to like ladies' homes who were,
Yeah, it was.
you know, church ladies who wanted to please everybody with snacks
Right.
and whatnot.
Correct.
But then Sundays was everybody, every group, and
Yes.
really anybody else could come, and you would have your whole like teenage service basically,
Right,
while
so-
kids and adults were having other things.
Right, so that was that was like the basis. That was like, this is your main thing, and then like you were encouraged based on that to go into your
Yeah.
small groups, and that was basically kind of like what you talk about there. Like they'd have like a follow up or something during the week.
Needless to say, that I'm like speechless, because how did we go through that many days of the week, that much time? Like Sundays, like it's not just that we were helping with 2 services. It was 7 a.m. we would get to church.
Yeah.
Service would be at 8. Then we'd stay there. Service would be at like 10:30. We'd stay there. We'd maybe go home for a couple hours, and then we'd go right back to church.
Yeah.
It was a full day.
Yeah.
We could not have social lives on the weekends with friends from school because we were always at church.
Right, and if you wanted to, you had to invite them to church.
Oh, God, the amount of my friends that I need to dearly apologize to because I had to invite them to church. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just have to say this. I have to confess something. The only reason I brought a Bible to school was because I felt like I had to. So sorry about that.
You brought a Bible to school?
I sure did. I remember having it, and I set it on my desk, and that was supposed to be like what you were supposed to do. Set your Bible on your desk so that somebody asks, why do you have that book on your desk? And then you can explain, well, there's somebody in my life that's very, very important to me, and his name is Jesus Christ, and you should try to come to church with me.
Holy shit.
Talk about a cult.
I don't remember doing
Talk
that.
about a cult.
Okay, let's talk about a cult.
We were also in a cult, but
That!
Yeah.
No, stop. You can't say that unless you explain.
I feel like that's still a touchy subject, and maybe we should save our comments for that when there's
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
When the NDA is up. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
But how long have we been talking about this?
Well, we've been going for 30 minutes.
Okay, so I say we take a break, and we come back and we talk more about the crazy activities and wild performances that we did with the church.
Yeah, this might be a couple break because there's several parts, and I have a whole list, so we should take a break.
Holy moly. Let's go. Take a break.
Okay. Okay, we're back.
Oh, thank you back.
Okay.
I
So
love saying that. Very theater person.
So obviously,
Okay, move on,
obviously, there's like we're talking about stuff that makes sense to us that really probably won't make sense to a lot of people. So if we're just sort of rambling, we should maybe be aware of that. But it's just like it's a whole thing, and like I don't know. Anyway, so but to put a cap on
Our trauma and not yours.
yeah, right. To put a cap on what we were talking about like the Sunday night thing or whatever, I just remember the very first night, like when school would be back in session, and it would be like the first night where
God.
everybody was there, and we would play a game. And you don't remember that?
No, I don't.
The game was called Bigger, Better, Best.
Okay.
And you would start with it's basically the game like the paperclip where you take a paperclip and you trade it, and you got to trade it and trade it and trade it until you get to like
Okay,
a house
okay.
or something. It was basically like that. So I don't know if we would like start with a penny or something. I don't know. Let's just say it was a penny. So every group, you'd be in your like little small group, and you'd get a penny, and you'd get sent out into the neighborhood, and it would just be like a
I
group of like
remember.
100 teenagers just like terrorizing the neighborhood, running around, knocking on doors. This was pre-pandemic, obviously, pre-terrorism in the United States. So you'd take your penny and you'd knock on the door. You'd knock on the door and you'd say, "Hello, we're from the local youth group. Would you take this penny and trade it with us for something that's either bigger in size or better in value. And then they'd slam the door on your face and say, go fuck yourself, Jesus isn't real. And then you'd run away to the next house.
That was aggressive.
But anyway, so then they'd be like, oh yeah, sure, you guys do this every year. What the fuck do you want now? So then they'd go into their house and they'd rifle through all their personal belongings and they'd come out with something either bigger in size or better in value, and they'd give it to you, and then you'd take whatever they gave you and you'd run and you'd do it again and again and again. And I don't know, you had like maybe an hour or something before you all had to meet back. Yeah, so anyways, that was just a strange thing that we had to do. But I remember, like, people bringing in, like, snow blowers,
couches.
sleds, couches. There was a cardboard cutout of somebody one time. And then basically you just, like, every group would, like, present what they had, and then there would be some sort of, like, voting or criteria of who won. Anyway, so, just...
Wow, what a crazy frickin' story.
Yeah. Anyway.
We were terrorizing the neighborhood. That was probably the most rebellious thing we did, you know?
Yeah, and we were allowed to do that.
Right, and we were given permission.
Okay.
Yeah, hit me with the next thing.
Let's talk about Vacation Bible School, VBS.
Vacation Bible School!
See, now as an adult, I have IBS, but when I was a kid, we went to VBS.
Now, that was funny.
You didn't
I'll
laugh.
give you hats off. Hats off to that one.
So let's talk...
Vacation Bible School.
Let's talk about a couple... Let's talk about a couple of the themes, okay? So I'm going to hit you with...
VBS!
Okay, so... Pandamania.
Holy snakes. Oh, Pandamania.
We should rate our favorite ones. Okay, so there was Pandamania.
Okay, but yeah.
There was the Wild West one.
That's a good one. Good one.
Remember that? The Great Adventure or something. So anyway, so there were these themed like, how many weeks was it? Like a week?
It was a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the summer. So instead of again having,
I think 5 days. 5 days.
Instead of having fun with the friends, it was it was going to church.
Off to VBS.
Yeah. That's the only two that I could remember.
Okay, well, here's you didn't describe what Vacation Bible School is.
Okay, go ahead.
Which, it's 5 days in the summer. People would send their children. You'd get sectioned off into groups, and you'd do different activities throughout the day. Like, there'd be an outdoor activity. There'd be, like, a come to Jesus moment upstairs. There'd be, like, crafts in one room, and then there'd be, like, a snack in another one. And they'd all be centered around one story. Mm-hmm. And, like, one Jesus story. And then you would go to the end of the day and you'd watch, like, a clip of the frickin' chipmunk guy, whatever his name is. Chatter, the chipmunk.
That was on my list.
And then you'd get your little character for the day.
Yeah, the little plastic little thingy. Yep.
Yep. And so you'd do that. And there were also worship songs at the beginning that were like fun songs.
Basically Kids Bop, but for
Jesus.
church songs.
Exactly. So it was just 5 days of that, which as a child you were like, this is the best thing I've ever been a part of. But as an adult, you're like, wow, that's like, even we can't just have a fun water game outside. It's got to be about the Lord.
Yeah. It's got to be holy water.
I can't just eat this frosting smeared on a graham cracker with a marshmallow on top without it being about Jesus. You know what I mean?
This graham cracker is his body broken for us. This cream cheese is the blood.
But that's what it was, right? Everything was like, every activity was about Jesus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me just for the record say that don't put me outside in the summer. Go fuck yourself. I don't care if there's water balloons. I don't care if there's games. If you got my chubby little ass running up and down a hill outside in the summer,
oh God,
worst enemy.
Awful. And then you make it about the Lord.
And then you gotta shove the Jesus down my throat. Like, come on. Anyway, yeah.
But VBS. But then I was gonna say, as like, we went as participants,
right?
But then I think 1 year we did it. 1 year we were.
I did it.
Counselors.
Yeah, I did it 2 years. But yes, that would make sense.
I think I only did one. We were counselors together 1 year, so we were like in charge of a group of like 6 kids or something.
Right.
6, 7, some number.
Don't put me in charge of children.
Oh God, we had fun though. I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh, that was when we did tie blankets. Remember?
I don't remember that part.
They were tie blankets, and you would pick them up at the beginning, and they were like, whichever group has the most tie blankets at the end gets like...
Oh, because they donated them.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we'd be sitting in the aisle while they were worshiping, tying off blankets.
Yep, yeah.
And it was like meant to be like, yes, we're donating the blankets, but it was also like, sit down with your group and get to know them. Ugh.
Do you remember they would have like a challenge for like how much money they could donate or something, and they'd have like 2 teams, and then at the end they'd have to like either eat something nasty or they get like like shit dumped on them or something. That was fun. I
love that stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
But again, it was great because as a child you were like, this is so much fun, and that's how they get you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they donate it to the BGMC, which, if you don't know what that is, it's not the Boston Gay Men's Choir. It is the Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge.
Yikes! So
you only make that mistake putting it up on the screen one time.
It's just funny to me how they can make anything about the Lord. You know what I mean?
It's really not that hard. I mean, yeah. Again, queer. Like, thank the queers. You would not have this whole production if it wasn't for at least one queer.
At least one.
Yeah.
Do you?
But they were. Keep going.
No, you were gonna segue just like I was.
I was gonna segue into just a short little pathway here. Gus the Garbage Man.
Gus the Garbage Man.
You don't remember that?
Who the frick was Gus the Garbage Man?
When our father, who art in or out of hospital, would dress up as a man in a Dickies one-piece jumpsuit, and carry around a stick with a needle on the bottom, picking up garbage, and then it was like a whole big like thing.
What? But was that like every year, or wasn't that just one?
Yeah, specific? It was just like, or here and there was a character or something. I don't really remember the point.
Skits.
Yeah,
doing skits.
Puppetry, where we were doing puppetry. We were
clowning.
We were clowning
for the Lord.
We were clowning. We were doing face painting. We were the Broken Bread Clown Ministry. Do you remember? I don't remember what it was called, so obviously I don't either. But it was like a circus thing, like the church circus came to town or something.
Yeah. That's what I mean, but I can't think of the name either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
But the next thing I was going to talk about was not the same as you.
Okay. Is the
segue to another fun, oh my gosh, every kid should go to this, because they just get to have fun with other kids. Not! It's about Jesus!
Tricked ya!
Was about Kids Blast. Remember Kids Blast?
Yeah, I remember
It was a blast!
Yeah.
You bet you it's a blast!
The Master Blaster.
Yeah, so it was multiple churches from everywhere in Wisconsin or elsewhere.
Probably.
I think just Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But we would all go to the Kalahari.
Let's go to the Kalahari. I want to go to the Kalahari. I want to eat myself to death at the Kalahari. I want to be the elephant on the wall at the Kalahari.
Not sponsored. In the Wisconsin Dells. And we would all, they would have a big convention. You'd all come in and they'd do like worship songs again and talk about Jesus. And then you'd have different, it was a convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have different things for different people. Like they'd have some for the adults, the chaperones, about leading children through the church.
Ministering.
They'd have ones about puppetry.
Ministering
they'd have
for
black
the master.
lights.
Exactly. Puppetry for the Pentecost. Juggling for Jesus.
Juggling, that's what it was.
Yo-yoing for Yahweh.
It was just that all day for like 3 days. It was like a 3-day weekend or something, right?
Singing for the Spirit.
It was all that nonstop crazy convention stuff.
So you'd pack up the bus, you'd be at the church. Listen, I'm very passionate about the Kids Blast. I love a Kids Blast. Don't get me wrong. You're gonna
You chat it up. Okay. I'm gonna eat my sucker.
Okay, so you're at the church. It's in the morning. Everybody gets there. We all go into the big room, the sanctuary, and we're all standing there and we're getting the pep talk. We're saying, hey, you are representing this church while you are there. You are representing your families. You are representing the pastors. You are representing yourself. And most importantly, you are representing Jesus. And there might be somebody from another church that is there as a friend to somebody. And they might not know who Jesus is, but you know what? This is the chance where you can show them Jesus by your actions.
That was another thing. Invite your friends. Invite your friends to Kids Blast.
But it costs money. I mean, and you had to do fundraisers, and you had to sell the chocolate bars, and you had to, do the whole freaking thing. So anyway, if you were fortunate enough, as we were several times, to go to Kids Blast, you'd get the pep talk, you'd do a prayer, you'd do your safe travels, you'd say safe travels, Jesus, all the way to the Kalahari. And so you'd load up the bus, and you'd get up on there, and, if you were lucky, you'd be on the bus with your friends, and you'd be, depending on how many people got to go. Anyways, you'd pull into the Kalahari. And let me tell you, when you were a kid who's never been to Disneyland, the Kalahari is the only place you want to be, let me tell you.
You got me. You got me there.
The Kalahari is the place to be. Okay, I'm talking Master Blaster. I'm talking Victoria Falls. I'm talking the lazy river. I'm talking the wave pool. I'm talking the camera the TV in the hotel room that had the camera of the pool, the water park. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm telling you right now. So you'd go do that. You'd go have your fun at the water park. You'd come back and you'd get a little folder. You'd get perhaps a cinch sack, a little backpack. And you'd have in there a folder with all the information on it. And a double-sided sheet, at least one, perhaps a packet, with all of the different classes that you could pick. And like I mentioned before, you had juggling for Jesus, singing for the Spirit, such and such, so on and so forth.
My favorite was the yo-yo one.
Yo-yoing for Yahweh.
That is too good.
I'm sure it was, or balloon animals for, I don't know. Anyway. And so you'd pick which ones you wanted to do. Okay. And so you'd mark them off. You'd circle them on the sheet or whatever. And then depending on the time of the day, the next day or whatever, after we all got together and, we're in the main area, we'd watch the little guy talk or whatever, the puppets, the dancing, what are when they do the songs with the actions? I remember they did one to the song, the not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. That song. Anyway, it was.
I don't know what that is.
It was.
I thought you were referencing the ska song.
Oh no! That was you are the devil and the devil is bad. Look that up. If you haven't heard that, look that up. It's a real treat. Anyway, so they had this one where they played the song, and all I really remember is they had little vignettes of families that didn't belong to Jesus, and they had the father backhand slapping his kids. Or they had the kids over in the corner doing drugs or whatever. And each verse, each of the verses of the songs, they'd have the little thing. And then the bridge and the final chorus, they had this giant Goliath built out of garbage can barrels. 4 for the legs, the middle, the top, and the arms. And they fucking ripped that thing down, and it fell, and it was so loud and so scary that I still have nightmares about it.
That can't be true.
It's absolutely true. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I hate it. Every time I hear that song, I piss myself a little. Anyways, so then you do that, and then you would go and you do the little classes or whatever. And that was what, a weekend, a 3-day weekend, 2 or 3 days, something like that.
I'd say.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah.
I don't either. It was a long-winded way of saying.
Again with the BGMC, the inflatable barrel, that weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
They gave you time in the water park.
They sure did. They sure did.
How generous of them. It was a lot. So, needless to say, amongst the things we did for church, sure, there were fun things to do. But they were always roundabout way for Jesus, you know?
Again,
Stomping for your Savior.
I feel swindled. I feel lied to. I feel taken advantage of. I feel so deeply hurt inside that they would dangle the donut on the end of the string for me and then take it away and say, "Nope, Jesus."
Here's my qualm. And we're going to get aggressive before we take one more little break to cool off, and then we'll come back with more, but this is my qualm. How do people of the Lord, the church, which two separate things, I dare say, if you're spiritual versus religious, but let's not get into it. How do you feel okay with yourself shoving it down children's throats and going to conventions which are also shoving it down Winter Blitz? Was that what it was called?
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're going to talk about the Blitz.
It was a weekend, maybe. No, it was more like a week almost.
Yeah, it was probably
in
about
the winter.
Mm-hmm.
In the winter, up at some lake, Silver Lake or something, and
Silver Birch Ranch.
That was it. Thank you.
Just came to me.
And you would go and you'd have fun. It was winter time. You'd go sledding. You'd do all this, but then you'd always come back to the frickin' hall and you'd talk about Jesus.
You'd be sitting in the canteen.
The point is,
you'd be sitting in the canteen enjoying a frozen hot chocolate, and then the bell would ring, and you'd be like, "Oh, time to go back to church."
So true. The point I was making was, how do you think it's okay to have all these fun events and do all these fun things and shove Jesus down children's throats?
They don't want the Jesus in their throats.
But then they're at school board meetings telling them how teachers should teach their children.
Well, that is maybe a more recent development, but yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, and we experienced it firsthand, so I feel like I'm allowed to have that anger.
Also, I remember...
Like, I was taught so many things through church, where now, as an adult, not being a member of a church, I realize how fucked up that was for me to do those things. You know what I mean?
But it's also, it makes it very hard to separate it, like, in my head. Like, I can't be any of that without being all of it and being the terrible parts. You can't have the good without the terrible, because that's how it is nowadays.
Touche. Holy cow. Okay, I think I need a break after that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go break something.
But I think we're gonna come back for a few more stories and crazy parts of our church experiences. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, let's take another break.
We will rise again. And we're back.
Oh!
Caught you there.
No.
Practicing something. Okay. All right. So we had to speed run this last part because we're running out of time here. But I just want to touch on a couple things. Church choir, kids choir.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was a thing that we had to do. Be in choir.
Church choir, I remember, but I don't remember kids choir.
You weren't in the kids choir.
I remember I remember maybe like for events.
Yeah, right.
Like a church Christmas musical, we would have a little kids choir.
Right, and that's all that it was. They put it together.
Oh, because the
little thing.
Because the church had an actual choir, and they were like all year round.
Correct. Right, and we just were the kids choir for like basically Christmas.
Got it.
Yeah. So that was the thing that we had to do. That Anyway,
I hated it,
and we also I hated it too. So if you
I love to sing.
If you hated it, imagine how much I hated it.
True, because I like to sing and I like to perform. That happened a little later, but at that time, I don't know, hated it.
I think it was, again, another thing that we were told to do or made to do, or maybe even if we did express interest in it, the minute we decided we didn't want to do it anymore, we still had to do it.
Yeah.
So there was that. There was also the church plays, which I actually quite enjoyed.
Let's get into it.
So the church had several different times where they put on a dinner theater show. Which for the majority of, we were stagehands, right? Am I correct in thinking? We didn't have any like real parts or anything. We were just stagehands.
I don't think I was ever in a play.
Besides the Love Liner.
But we were still stagehands for that.
We were stagehands.
We just got to do the jokes.
Right, and we were more part of the, like, they didn't try, we weren't dressed in all black as stagehands.
That's true.
We were cast stagehands, basically.
But one thing about these plays, I wouldn't say they weren't religious.
No.
Were they?
No.
Like, the Love Liner was just a joke about the Love Boat, and we were just making jokes.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously there was a story of some sort, but I don't think that it was
religious.
There wasn't. Right. It was more. I mean, I remember there was like the newlywed game section where they brought people from the audience up, and it was more like things like that. There was actually somebody that had gotten intoxicated in that one, right? Because we had to throw her on the hand cart and wheel her out.
Oh, you mean a character?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yes. That's funny.
So that was
Was that your favorite show?
Yeah, probably because we were the most involved in that one. But our father was probably the star of a lot more than we were actually a part of.
Well, yeah. But I liked the Love Liner because we got to stick our heads in the portholes.
Yeah, the little like... Yeah.
Tell jokes.
Right.
Womp, womp. Yeah.
Little one-liners on the Love Liner.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
But there's another play that I just recently re-looked up because you were talking about it.
Beau Jest.
Thank you, because I forgot about it again. Beau Jest, that's like a real play.
Yeah. Yeah, about like Jewish people, and we were not Jewish.
Yeah. Lots there.
That one I remember that I didn't like so much because I remember we had to like Abby Lee Miller style like go through the same freaking like thing over and over and over again until we got it right. The
plates.
Yes, the plates. Yeah. And the cups and the taking off of the stage and the taking away, and we were doing it too loud, and I was like, I don't know how you expect me to stack plates quietly.
They're glass plates. Yeah. But I think those were some of my best memories, because I will say, maybe because they weren't about religious aspects, we just got to have fun and do things for once that weren't really about that.
Right.
But also, in our childhood as well as our like religious trauma, church trauma, I think that built a lot of tension in our family.
Oh, you think?
And we didn't get along that often.
No.
Until now, our later years, where we're both adults and whatnot.
Yeah.
But those shows, I feel like we were brought together in those moments.
And
I don't think we fought as much.
We have to also mention that our names on the Love Liner were Rhett and Link.
Now, I don't remember that, but big fans still to this day.
Our characters that we played, where we were stagehands but also part of the show, they didn't have names because we were just added, so we decided to name ourselves Rhett and Link. And that's how we were credited.
I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, that's fun.
We'll see if we can throw up a picture. I think I have a picture somewhere, so we'll throw it up.
Oh, there's an awful picture that I've seen.
Yeah. With
our hair long and swoopy.
That's the one.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. So we can loop it back around to the church choir and maybe just shortly touch on the 4th of July. That was probably the...
Stop. That's iconic.
That was probably the number one thing that, like, the church choir did. Was their, like, 4th of July outside, 4th of July in the park celebration.
In the park, outdoors, in a band shell.
Mm-hmm. That's the word.
And, yeah, 4th of July. And they would sing every patriotic song you could think of.
Mm-hmm.
And they're glued into my memory now, even though I don't care to want to know them.
And also Swing Down Chariot.
Our Father, who may or may not be in hospital, is that what you've been saying?
Our Father who art in hospital.
Love you, Jim. Um, he always got that solo. There were some solos in these choir songs, and that solo, it was like a Gaither's version of that song.
Right.
And so it's like a la Elvis, let's say. And so Jim would really ham it up. Well. He'd really, and I remember sitting in the car driving around town, and he'd be listening to the track.
To the track with
so
the piano, for the melody.
He'd have to practice, and we would never hear the end of it because he was so frightened. I think he had a little stage fright.
Oh yeah,
because I remember also he was also in the plays. He would also have us run lines with him all the time, every time we were in the car.
Right, and let's just say, love you, Jim. Know you're listening. Hi, love you, Jim. Poppy,
love you, Jim.
Dad, love you. Not the best at acting. She's pretty ticked, let's just say, again, once I swear to you, some of our best content is going to be when we watch the Perfects. Anyway,
so true. React.
Let's just say, you can tell he's acting, and I'll just leave it at that. But it didn't stop him.
We love Jim.
It didn't stop
so
him.
True.
The fact that it's like, how many people can say that their dad is out there doing the damn thing? I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying. And for a man, I feel like he didn't do a lot of that in his youth. To be able to be a middle-aged person and come out of your shell and perform, good for him.
I mean, yeah, he's been performing his whole
more often.
He's been performing his whole life, so to actually be able to get out there on stage and do it as a different character.
Comedy.
Yeah. Anyway,
we love Jim. Would Rhonda have any solos? Do you remember her having? Oh, I feel like she did have the frothy foam sea foam song. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes, I know.
Am I being crazy or do I?
No.
I'm being crazy. Hold, please.
What's it called?
I don't know. I can't think of it. Which she would have a solo too.
I keep thinking from sea to shining sea, but that's
from sea to shining sea.
I don't think that's what it is, though.
I don't think it is either. Anyway. We love our father. Yes, he did a lot of the plays and such. But Rhonda,
God Bless America. It's God Bless America.
Is it really?
To the oceans, white with foam. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, got it.
Mm-hmm.
She would have that every now and then.
Yeah.
Because she's a good singer. I think that's where our parents are both great singers. So they were really part of that church choir and that 4th of July thing. Oh, I could shake my ass to some of those songs now. Especially
and I'm sure you do.
My favorite. Oh, I do. It's on my playlist. Swing Down Chariot by the Gaithers. It's on my playlist. One of my favorites was the medley of military songs. Let's get into it.
Which also, okay, no offense to those. Thank you for your service. Military is
who served, yes.
In my opinion, military is a scam. However, the songs, the theatrics of it, the whole standing in the front with the flags and calling down. They'd say, let's hear it for our armed services. Let's hear it for the Navy.
Yeah,
let's
and they'd stand. Oh,
and then they'd all be at the front and they'd all get a standing ovation. And then here we go, climax of the whole thing. Here comes the American flag. Rolling down from the top. You didn't even know it was there the whole time. Surprise, it was there the whole time. Rolled up with
whole time
with glitter in the middle of it, and there's a fishing line. And you're like, why is that fishing line coming down from the top of there all the way back down? Because it was tied to the flag, and they pulled it, and there it goes, and there's and I'll stand for the flag.
How would it end? Oh, got it.
Now, yeah, something like, now I'll stand with something with
rise for our national
for the flag of the United States of America. And then it'll be, and you're like, oh, because I have ADHD.
You're a grand old flag. Was that it?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe this land is your land or something.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the
kicker. Because it was always like half be like, this
and the
land
songs go rolling along.
It's like, this land is your land.
Kick line.
This is my land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Love it.
Holy shit.
I think that
is the culmination of everything.
I think that's a great place to. I think that's a great place to. I mean, what else can you say after that?
Theatrics. I'd say, yes, church was responsible for our trauma and our views maybe nowadays, but I will also say we can take a lot from it. We've learned a lot, and we can both take our performing abilities and our skill sets. We sure did learn a lot that we still use, even though we might not be the happiest about how we learned it.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
right?
Yeah. Don't ask, don't tell. But all I'm saying is,
Yikes.
All I'm saying is we went full circle, because none of that would have happened without the queer. And look where I ended up. So
look at the queer, right?
You're a grand old. Yeah. So
I didn't want you to say that.
Anyways, I didn't.
I just want you to know that that you're my favorite human being, Jordan, and I don't think we could have made it through those years without one another.
Oh, I absolutely agree, 100%. I'm glad we made it out on the other side.
So true.
You know,
it's
like to put it at a metaphor. It's like you're at the bottom of a water slide, okay, and you gotta climb up one stair at a time, and you hate it every step of the way. You're like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to stand in this line. I don't want to climb up 150 stairs. And you're at the top, and you're like, ugh, that was just not worth it. But the minute you get on that water slide, and the minute you start to see the fruits of your labor coming down, the amount of fun you're having all the way down to the end, you're like, you know what? That climb up the stairs, that was worth it. If this is where we ended up, and this is the fun that we can have now after all that work, it's worth it.
Okay, and after that after-school special, I think we're going to call that a wrap today, folks. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hopefully you stayed around to hear all the crazy, wacky things we've done in our time as human beings. Thank you, Jordan, for once again being my gracious co-host and always friend.
Thanks, Landy.
And we'll see you next time, everybody.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.